This is Levels of Geeks Podcast, bringing you action movie reviews from across the decades, plus box office numbers and insight like never before. And now your host of Levels of Geeks Podcast, Alex and Friends.
What's up, everyone? This is Nate, and there's my co-host,
Alex Figueroa.
And we are bringing you episode number 10 of the Levels of Geeks podcast. This is where we cover all things action movies. And this is a very special kind of sequel week, right? Last episode, Terminator 2. This time, a sequel to a movie we reviewed last week, 300 2. Although that's not the title. 300 Rise of an Empire is the title, but it's 302. So we, of course, are going to be going through doing our normal criteria. You guys know the drill by now. Main character, main villain, action, storyline, overall score. Then we're going to total it for you and let you know what we thought of the film as a whole entity. Of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and give us your scores for 300 Rise of an Empire down below using that same criteria. Comment, like, share, subscribe if you don't already. And if you're listening on Apple Podcast or Stitcher, please give us a review. Let us know if you're enjoying the show. Let us know what we can improve on or what we can improve on. If you just like it as it is, tell us that as well. We really appreciate it. So first things first, we are going to go into the figures here, if you will. Box office total, Rotten Tomatoes score, all that good stuff before we give our take.
Yeah, so let's get right into it. 300 Rise of the Empire 2014. Look, this budget was at $110 million to film this movie. All right, so let's get right into these numbers. Domestic, it was $106 million in the U.S. International was $231 million for a worldwide total of $337 million. So that looks like 300 is a pretty good property, and it's going to make its money back. So people like it.
Thank goodness for the overseas audience, especially, though. I mean, they more than doubled the U.S. audience. Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize it made that much money. Yeah, it's a lot. You know, it was successful. Yeah, I know when I went to see it in the theater, this was my first time watching it since the theater for this podcast. And I remember there being a good amount of people there. So, you know, it was pretty full. Now, as far as the Rotten Tomatoes score, 45%. So not great. Obviously, it's not fresh. Anything under 60 is considered rotten. So yeah, it's not fresh. Audience score 51%. So we're basically going to be telling you if we agree or disagree with these scores. You know, when we give the scores, keep in mind too, when we're reviewing these, we don't factor them into our reviews. We don't even look at them. I look at them literally right now as we record. I have no idea what it is going in. So I don't like to look at things like that. I don't like to have my mind clouded with other people's thoughts. So we're just going to tell you if we agree with that. But okay, let's go ahead and we're going to jump right in now. We flip roles usually when I host. So I'm going to throw to you for the main character or the hero of the story. What's this guy's name? Themistocles or something like that?
Themistocles or whatever the hell it is.
Testicles.
Yeah, Testicles. Yeah.
What's your score?
Honestly, look, to be honest with you, the main character, he was okay. He is not no Gerard Butler at all. He was okay. I don't even know what to say because honestly, we're going to talk about this, and I know some people are going to laugh, some people are going to throw out, but his character was okay. He was a badass at times. He looked like he was a very strategic guy for for whatever he was from the part of the Roman or the Greek.
He was Greek.
He was Greek, right?
He was an Athenian or whatever.
Yeah, so he made feta cheese. That's where they make feta cheese.
That's a good metaphor.
Yeah, he makes feta cheese. So that character, he was a very strategic way of combat. Like he knew where to position the people here and there. He was a good fighter. And, you know, other than that, there's pretty much nothing else to the damn character. Like he didn't bring nothing else to the table. To me, he faked his accent because sometimes he had a Greek accent, sometimes it disappeared and he had a action movie voice going, "You have to send us men," and I'm like, what the hell? So with that said, I don't even want to continue with this character. I give this a 3 out of 5. He was decent. I already know where you're gonna go, but I'm gonna give him a decent because honestly, it was just decent. I could have went lower, but it was just trying to be decent.
Well, you know what? I always appreciate one thing I could say about you is you can be very generous. You're a generous person. Because this guy is just sucks. I do not like him at all. I mean, okay, first of all, the only thing I know about him is his name. Okay, there's no backstory here. Nope. Zero. Not even a glimpse of a glimmer of a speck of a background story. He's literally just soldier guy. Okay? That's a
soldier guy.
He's soldier guy. And sure, he's like high ranking. Like maybe he's. So one thing you guys need to know, we'll talk about more later. This is more like a Navy type stuff because it's a lot in the ocean. Let's say he's like a naval commander. Even that's all he is. He is just naval commander. There is nothing to him. He don't got he has one friend. So, okay, he has that guy who's his friend. He has no other friends. He has no wife that you know of. He has no kid. He has nothing that ties him. You know, when you see Gerard Butler in the first 300, King Leonidas, you know he got a wife at home who he loves. You see him as a kid, what he went through to become who he is. You're rooting for him so hard because of all that stuff. Yeah. I don't know. This guy is just some guy who they decided we're going to follow, pretty much. When they're rushing through in that beginning scene like that, the movie opens with action. So like the guys are rushing like on the beach, they're fighting or whatever. They could have just, the camera, it seems like the camera just stopped on him and that's, we're just going to follow this guy. Like, yeah, I know it could have been anyone. It could have been the guy next to him and we just follow that guy. So I hated him. One, I didn't like him. I agree with you. I think his dialogue was bad. I think his delivery, he's not a good actor. Sullivan Stapleton, not amazing. He's tough, sure. He got the look, I guess. But when I couldn't help but compare it to the first one. And that's the movie's fault for making it, trying to be almost like so similar. He's not Gerard Butler. He's not even Michael Fassbender was cooler. And he's only in like 10 scenes in the first one. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or the friend, King Leonidas' friend, the old guy who has the son in there.
Yeah, he had a cool scene too.
Yeah. And he had a way better, same thing. He has some attachment. And they try to copy it in this one with that other friend with his son. But I didn't care for him. I don't like him at all.
There you have it. Villain.
Now, we're going to go to villain. So
villain.
I am glad I get to go first on villain because here's where things switch up a bit. And if this movie, to me, has one saving grace, it is one Miss Eva Green as the villain. So Xerxes was the villain in the first one. And he still is he's a character in this movie. But he's not the main villain of this storyline. In this storyline, it's Eva Green. She is terrific. She's always terrific. So she's one of those actresses who's like, I think she just goes under the radar. Unless you are like a big film fan and watch a lot of movies, you don't really know who she is usually. She's never the lead in anything. You know what I mean? Like if so, it's very rare. She's always a side character or whatever. But like if you just go down the list, like she was awesome in Casino Royale.
Yes,
she was awesome in this. She was really good in what's the movie? Oh, it's a movie nobody really likes, but I won't talk about it. Anyway, she's really good in everything I see her in. I always like her. And one thing she has that our lead character doesn't have is she has presence, right? She has like a magnetism. If she's on the screen, it doesn't matter who else is on there. You're looking at her. You know what I mean? And I think that's a trait of not just a great villain, but just a great character in general. She's the one with all the backstory. Essentially, she's the hero of the story. In my opinion, I felt bad for, like, if you look at her backstory, they created this, what she becomes. And I can't even be mad at her for her goal. You know what I mean? Like, her own people did these horrible things to her, to her family, right in front of her, to her in her life. She ends up in another country where they don't do that to her. They teach her how to fight. They teach her how to defend herself. Because the leader of that country is a tyrant, she's considered a bad guy. But honestly, to me, she's fairly justified in the grand scheme of what's going on. So I think that's one of the problems, and we'll get to it later with the movie. That's like a problem with the movie itself. But I love her. Not perfect, but very close. I'm going to give her a 4 out of 5.
Oh, wow. You very generous.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Because honestly, I didn't know who the hell was the villain. I'm going to be honest with you. When I was watching this movie, I'm like, who am I even? I understand it's Eva Green. because she's in most of the scenes. But then you got the dude with the gold and the god, wannabe god.
Xerxes.
Yeah, he's in the other scene. Like, to me, they both share the same amount of screen time. It's not like one took the other over. I agree with you. She was hot, super hot. You know,
gorgeous.
in that one scene in the room.
That scene was crazy.
I love that scene. I mean, I think I rewinded it like 8 times, but I was like, whoa! But anyway, I thought she was, you're right. Everything you said, I agree with. She's stunning. She's beautiful. I am, to be honest with you, she's one of the actresses that I'm very attracted by. Like, even if she walks near, like, by me, like, I'm, like, my wife already knows. Like, I'm attracted to Eva Green. I don't know if it's her eyes, green eyes. I don't know what the hell it is, but there's something about her that I'm very attracted to her by. I really don't know what it is, but I'm very attracted by her. But she is gorgeous. I did not care for her character. Yeah, she did have a background, but I'm like, then she should have been the main villain, not a side henchman, because that's what she was. She was a henchman. So I didn't care for her character. So with that said, I gave her a 2 out of a 5. Yeah, I didn't care for her because she's not a main character. She's not a main villain. The main villain is the god dude.
No, he's not in this one. In this
he is in this one.
He doesn't do so in the first movie. At least in the first movie,
he didn't do nothing there.
No, but he's the one overseeing like the military and everything. There is no other like general that you meet who's like in charge of the military or anything like that.
Right.
In this movie, she is the one leading the entire attack throughout the movie. She is on the boats. She is the one strategizing. And as a matter of fact, she tells him, like, she has that moment where she tells him, like, don't forget who even put you, on the throne. Like, she, because of the backstory, is kind of the catalyst to everything that happens with him. And because of that, it makes her the main villain.
I guess. I just, you know
that's
what?
That's my take.
A 2. I'm just gonna put 2. I'm gonna explain why a 2 when we get to storyline.
Yes. That's fair enough.
Action.
Okay, now we're gonna go to action, and this is you.
Yes. Look, action. The minute this movie starts, and again, this movie was made with 3D in mind. Because there's a lot of 3D shots up in this piece when you're watching it. I mean, there's a lot of... So when this movie starts off, is it just straight... what is this? Testiculus, whatever his name is.
Testiculus.
Testiculus. He's running through the beach. I mean, they're fighting all over the place. I mean, they overused the crap out of slow motion all over the place. Like The Matrix, and that thing annoyed me. But I'll talk about that overall. You see that action scene? I thought it was really well done. I thought that all that is well done. I think the boats in the ocean, that was well done. Look, this movie is action packed. Now, this is what they get. This is a fight of a fight. Like, you get fighting, not no. What is it? Planet of the Apes, War of the Apes, or whatever. And they didn't show that much fighting. This one, they show fighting. So with that said, I give this a 5 out of a 5 because you got straight action from beginning to end. A lot of love making up in the middle with my girl Eva Green. But with that said, I gave it a 5. Yeah,
that's the best action of the movie is that action. Because all right, look, this is an incredible review as we go back and forth and flip-flop scores because I won't argue on the amount of action with you. It is entirely throughout the whole runtime. What I will argue with you is the quality of the action because it is, first of all, half of it's in slow motion. Okay. Which means if you made it in regular speed, this movie would only be like an hour long if they just filmed it in regular speed. Like there's half of the movie slow. So if they sped it up, an hour. This movie is super short. But that's something that you put for the overall storyline. Yeah. Anyway, I don't like the way it's filmed. It looks murky. I hate the way it looks. I hate the way this movie looks.
That's overall.
No. But what I mean is in the action scenes. Yeah. No, I'm talking about specifically in the action scenes. I see
what you mean. Okay.
They do this thing where, like, if someone gets sliced, like, they throw blood on the camera. I hate that.
That's 3D. They were trying to go for the 3D.
I know, but I'm not watching it in 3D, so it's just horrible. Like, it's just horrible. Like, splattering the screen when they're in the water on the because so I didn't watch it in 4K. I watched it on a 4K TV, but like it's a very good TV. When they're in the water scenes around the kind of outside of the frame, it almost looks like a misty, like there's water on. Like I hate it. I hate the way the action scenes look. I hate that is just like they tried to copy stuff that was cool in the first movie, but it ain't as cool this time. Like it's just not. The blood looks like, I mean, when these guys get sliced, it looks like PS3 God of War graphics.
Yes,
like it's not good. So I was never, I will agree. There's an abundance of it. And if you're looking for that, then yes, absolutely. This is fine. But quality, this doesn't hold a candle to even one fight scene in the first 300. Like, the stuff with the boat. The best one that I liked was, and it was so stupid, but the best one that I liked was when they're in the, when they make all the boats come in the little tiny alleyway in the where the rocks are in the water.
Okay.
Right. And they sneak them into there. And then like, so you got like all these boats and they start like smashing into each other. And then all these dudes just start jumping off the cliffs. But when the first guy jumps off the cliff, he falls like 50, he break his leg. He falls like 50 feet, just lands on the boat, starts slicing people. Like no big deal. And then when the camera pans out and they show the people jumping, the cliff is only like 10 feet from over the boats. So it doesn't even make any sense. It's illogical. It's not well shot. I hate it. The part at the end, which, and this will be my last point. I remember sitting in the theater and thinking it was cool. And now I'm watching it and I hated it. Was the part where he's on the horse, where Testicles is on the horse and he's riding the horse through it looked like a video game. Like it looked so bad. I hated it. 2. I'm going to give it a 2. And I'm only giving it a 2 because of the abundance of it.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, not because I liked it, but goodness gracious, it was silly.
Storyline.
Okay, well, I mean, we're not moving up from here. So storyline wise, okay. If the first 300 had a great storyline, simple but effective.
Yeah.
This one does not have, it doesn't have a storyline per se. It's just a collection of scenes. The only story is Eva Green's backstory and like how that's tied to Xerxes' backstory. That's it. This movie starts off with action and then just goes into more action. Not only that, the first 300, we talked about it when we reviewed 300. It had this awesome ending. You got like 8 billion people standing on a hill, ready to fight. And you're telling me you don't start this movie showing what happened with those 8 million people? Instead, I feel like this movie was so disrespectful to freaking Leonidas. Like the movie starts with him just getting his head chopped off, like he's a piece of crap, and Xerxes just being like, "Here's your king. Look, I killed him." Like they didn't treat him with any respect, and he was an awesome character. Maybe it's because he didn't want to come back, or well, I mean, obviously this is a sequel, but I'm sure they could have figured out a way. Maybe Gerard Butler didn't want to come back, so like, you know what? We're just gonna really diss him.
Yeah, but they showed him walking.
It was CGI. It wasn't him.
Oh,
it was a CGI. Yeah,
that was all of them.
So they show flashback, which is footage from the first movie,
right? And
then there's a scene where he's fighting some guys in a courtyard, and they just CGI Gerard Butler's face on a guy. It's not him. So it's like, man, the disrespect. Yeah. I don't like how they treat his character. I don't like that they didn't even tackle what happened with those other guys. And don't even get me started with like the end of this movie, the way it ends, where like the queen comes on the boat and she's also apparently, I know the women are tough and they talk about it.
Yeah, they said they could fight. Yeah, they said they could fight.
But like, come on, give me a break. It's okay. I believe they could fight, but come on. I thought it was stupid. I think the whole movie's like the lack of premise is pretty bad. I'm going to give it a 2 because I did like Eva Green's character's backstory. I thought that was the best part of the movie. And it's the only story that's in here. It's just a bunch of action scenes. It's not a story. I don't even know what they're doing. They're just fighting them, and it's parallel. It takes place at the same time as the first movie for some of it, and then it's after later. So because remember, they show him go ask for ships, and Gerard Butler's fighting, and she's like, nah. So this happens like parallel, and then basically continues on after the first movie, and it's a little confusing.
Part of me don't think that was him. I think that was his son.
No way, it's him. It's supposed to be him because when he goes there, remember?
That's right. It was the flashback. Yes. You're right.
She's like, we're waiting for the Con Air festival thing, which was in the first movie. Mm-hmm. So like this is happening before the first movie for some of it, and then the rest of it is after.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're right. I'm sorry.
Because then the guy has the eye patch and everything. Yeah. So, but yeah, I didn't like it too.
Yeah, I mean, look, in storyline, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I'm going to be honest with you. Yo, dude, I did not know what I was watching, bro. And I'm not even going to say it like I'm going to be here sitting, talking all cool, like I'm going to break it. Look, I really did not know what I was watching. Because I did not know. They were horrible in telling what sequence was where. I didn't like, you just broke it down to me, telling me that was before and after. Yeah, I did know that the guy was missing a patch, but I thought they put like a glass eye in his eye. Like, I didn't know. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I guess they had back then glass eyes. So I was like, oh, cool. But you're absolutely right. They did not do a well job telling you what in what timeline this movie was where. They should have gave us something like before the big fight or before, like, you know how they throw it in the bottom, like in a corner? They should have put before, you know, King Leonidas went out and, you know, did what he did or kicked the guy in the hole. Like, I didn't care what they put. Then I'll know. I go, oh, damn, okay, that's before, you know, whatever. And then this is after, you know, her, you know, crying, which I kind of knew it was him dead in the in the coffin thingy-majiggy, all the men or him.
And your only clue, one of your only clues is there's like a line, and it's almost like a throwaway, which is, again, this is ties to what you're saying. Like, it's a poorly told story. Is where the guy is like, oh, right now, I think it was the bald guy who was in the first movie. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, King Leonidas and them were
ambushed
going, through the hot gate by a traitor. So you know it's happening at the same time.
Yes.
If you're like not paying attention super well to that one little line, you're just like, I don't know. And I thought this whole movie was after until I started, you know, it's a sequel, so I thought it was after.
Yeah, you're right. When he said that the Hunchback gave up their location or whatever, they betrayed them. And then the same Hunchback, he puts the knife in him. I'm like, all right, you stab him. Because everyone else would. King Leonidas would have stabbed him.
Right.
But he didn't stab him. He was like, go back and tell them that whatever he said. And I was just like, this is so corny, bro. Like, he has some corny line. Yeah. Look, honestly, I ain't gonna dwell on this much. I did not know what the hell the movie was about. Like, if you would have told me what is this movie about, all I know is about Eva Green getting banged on the table, because that's all I got from the movie. From a bunch of boats, like if they were playing Battleship. Because other than that, I didn't know what the hell this movie is about. So I gave this a whopping 1 out of a 5. I honestly,
you haven't given many ones, I don't think.
I don't give many ones in storyline because I kind of find the good in the storyline. Yeah. There is no good in this, bro. I cannot find nothing at all. Overall, I guess that's me.
Yep.
Look, overall in this movie, if you're one of those that love 3D, Blu-rays, then this movie's for you. This is for you. You want to see 3D titties everywhere when he's on the table getting banged? Then this is for you. That's all I gotta say, because honestly, the blood throwing in the screen, Nate said it's annoying. They should have did it 2 versions. If you got the Blu-ray 3D, then those effects will work. You go, oh, okay. If it was not on 3D, if it was on DVD or non-3D, if they put it on Blu-ray, then they should have gave it to you with a toned down blood version, slow motion, because all these slow motion and blood in the face is all for 3D effects, and it did not work for me. Like, I agree with Nate. This was god-awful movie, to be honest with you. And I'm going to be honest, because this is overall now. I'm not talking about each part. It's a bad movie. It's a very, very horrible sequel to 300. Zack Snyder should be really pissed off because he left this movie in one of the most pristine, mint condition comic book movie known to man. Because this movie, it's a masterpiece. Because we talked about it in the movie. It's a masterpiece of comic book movies. This is a masterpiece. This movie stunk. This is like someone took this graphic novel and threw it in a freaking pile of water and said, hey, this is what we're going to work with. It did not work for me. His wife giving the narration sucked because I was not into the movie at all. And I'm not saying because of
narration twice.
Yes.
It's the same words.
Yes. So for me, it did not get me amped like in the first movie because the guy with the one eye was telling the story. So it kind of felt like you were like, wow, this is a journey. Right. You didn't get that with King Leonidas' wife. It should have been. I mean, I don't mind if it was if she was doing it, but it had to be better story being told. Whether it's them trying to retrieve King Leonidas' body, trying to go through all those Persians to try to get it, and they got it, or the guy cuts his head off. There had to be something better. I know she was trying to tell the story, but the story stunk because I would have fell asleep. And again, she told the story in front of thousands of people, and the dudes in the back were cheering already. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, this is a repeat of the dude telling the story out of the 150,000 people behind him. But again, look, with that said, overall, I gave this a 2 out of a 5 because Eva Green was hot and the action was subpar. So I just gave it a 1-on-1 on that. Other than that, it sucked.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? Very fine points.
Very fine points there, my good lad.
I will not argue. I will add, okay, if I have to give any pluses, like I said, I did enjoy Eva Green. I thought she's one of the only things that was able to keep me watching and not from just I would have watched it so I could review this. But my brain would have literally just turned off if she wasn't there. I would have just been looking at stuff at that point. I was engaged with her character, so that's a point. Another point, and this is just, minor. I like the music in this movie. I know I kind of mentioned it when we were doing that live show Monday. Junkie XL does the score. The music is good. It fits the action. He's a good composer, not amazing, but good. I do like the sound or the score for this movie. Other than that, the video game blood is just absolutely horrible. The amount of it, I think they thought if we just put 80,000 gallons of CGI blood, people will think it's awesome. It's not. Yeah. The most hilarious part ever when they're this part made me laugh. So I guess points for that. When they have that ship and they're shooting the oil and that big fat guy gets covered and then he gets lit on fire and he falls in the oil.
Can I just say, these dudes were shooting arrows from 2,000 feet away, hitting pinpoint accuracy with wind, rain.
At night.
At night.
It was dark.
This dude hit a fat dude on top of an oil rig and hits it in a perfect spot because he fell right into the jigs spitting out the oil.
Well, first it catches on fire and then he falls into the oil spray. It made me laugh. I'm serious. I rewound it. I was like, I can't stop laughing. It was so funny. I had to rewind it and watch
That's
it again.
The equivalent of the guy.
This poor guy. He's just up here.
Yeah, that's the equivalent of the guy hitting the propeller in the Titanic. You just start laughing.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah. It's not supposed to be funny, but it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's this part in this movie. I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna give it a 2 as well. Not as entertaining as I remember. 7 years ago, me in my mid-20s, I thought it was okay. Obviously, okay enough to purchase because I bought it. But 33-year-old me hates it overall. So total score for me, that's if you're keeping track at home, that's a 1, a 4, a 2, a 2, and a 2. That's 11 out of 25. This is more in the vein of the traditional sequel that's nowhere near as good as the original. This is more of your classic action sequel where they just really dropped the ball. You know what I mean? Like you said, Snyder left them with such an easy. This is so easy. Now they got a bigger army. Just keep with those guys and fighting Xerxes and let's see Xerxes die.
What's up?
Xerxes doesn't even die at the end of this movie.
What's up with that one guy? All he did was just make facial expressions. The dude with the long hair that looked like mad Spanish.
Oh, that was the guy. I don't know what he did. I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
He was there and he was like, "What do you think, my good lad?" And he's going,
"Yeah, it's just."
And
guys.
I'm like,
this movie's just full of guys. There's no characters. There is no characters.
And some of them was not even fit, like the guys in 300.
None of them. So,
yeah, King of Leonidas would not have been having that. He'd be like, yo, get your ass into that and get working out. Because these dudes did not look like they were working out.
And they just don't look awesome. Their colors aren't as, the red cape and everything looks, the blue doesn't work as good, especially because a lot of this is at night and on water. So they just look like they just blend in. One other thing that I feel they dropped the ball. If you have a character like Eva Green who can fight, who can kill, straight up cuts a dude's head off like nasty, right? And then you got the Queen from the original, and you want to show her as a warrior. How is there not a fight scene between the two of them?
Oh my God, you're so right.
I don't understand. It's so easy. Have her show up, fight and kill her. That will prove, okay, she's really about it. Instead, they just have her show up and slice some dudes and then the movie's over. You know what I mean? There's so many times in this movie where they just they had the ball and they're running and they just dropped it. They just fumbled it. and
Dude,
someone
you're
else
so
picked it up.
right. They should have had the big battle in front of the God guy, right?
And
And then have
should
her
not have lived.
Yeah, and then have her chop Eva Green's head off in front of him, and then it should end the movie her running towards him, and then he looks all scared on the throne, and then you end it. You don't have to show what happens. That's it. That's how you end it.
The way this movie ends, my guess is, because it did make a lot of money, but they were maybe thinking, okay, if we keep ending it with these scenes of like people running at the camera, we can make another sequel. You know what I mean? But they didn't, because it's already been, well, don't say never, because you know what? This movie came out 8 years after the first one. So we're only 6 years after this one. So it's still possible. That's all I'm saying. I hope not, but it's still possible.
I mean, the only way I can see it if they have Gerard Butler's son, King Leonidas' son, leading the pack.
Xerxes never died, so he's still alive. And that actor, all you got to do is paint him gold and CGI him giant. And
you're right.
No problem.
And, you're right. I mean, look, it is what it is. This sequel stunk. But like I said, I gave this a 13 out of a 25 due to the action. That's the only reason why I tied this guy. Nate's score of 11. But other than that, mine would have been at a 9 or a 10. But I gave it a 5 for action because I enjoyed all the action, even if it's slow motion and stuff. But other than that, this movie is a stinker. Like that, blah. I'm going to look for like a stinky thing and drop it there. But yeah, guys, a big turd. But other than that, guys, look, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, share, and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. If you guys are listening to us on the go, all you got to do is just subscribe to Levels of Geek Podcast. Hit some throw some feedbacks there so me and Nate can see what you guys like, what you guys don't like. We could improve on it. And then on we go with continuing with more of the movie. And
also keep an eye out for next week and later this week. Next week episode 11 will be Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. But for episode 12, we're going to want you guys to tell us. So we just watched this piece of crap movie and we just told you how much of a piece of crap. We wanted to wash our palate a little bit. So we picked 4 Westerns. Okay. We haven't touched a Western yet. We said, why not? We'll throw one in, right? Those sprinkled in. We're going to do a lot of episodes of this. Eventually, we'll do more. But we picked 4 Westerns, and we want you guys, Alex is going to put a poll up, similar how they do the Cross the Streams poll. We want you guys to vote for the movie you want us to watch, just so you know the choices are going to be The Quick and the Dead, 3:10 to Yuma, the remake, The Magnificent Seven, the remake, and Tombstone. Those 4, you will pick. Whatever you pick, we will watch and review. And some of them, I've seen all of them. But one of them I haven't seen in a really long time, and a couple of them Alex hasn't seen, but we're not going to tell you. We'll just leave it up to you.
Some of them I have not seen. All I will tell you is Tombstone I did. But other than that, some of them I did not see. So, with that said, we're going to throw up some polls next week on Westerns. You guys will vote. We'll watch, just like we do across the streams. And again, guys, we're doing a Rambo sweepstakes. All you have to do is listen to all the Terminator episodes. Find that keyword. You DM me or Nate over at Nate Flicks Reviews or Levels of Geeks on our Instagram page. You just DM us, hit us with that keyword, and you guys will be entered for it. We're going to be giving away Rambo 1 through 5, plus the extended cut of Rambo, all digital codes, of course, so you guys will get the 4K version of Rambo. Again, guys, please follow us on all social media accounts. Levels of Geeks throughout everything. Twitter, Instagram, that's pretty much the big main 2 that we're on. And then, of course, YouTube. Hit that the subscribe button. Like the videos that you watch. I'm gaming, so you see my gaming there. You see me unboxing crap, because that's all I do. I buy collectible stuff and I unbox them. That's what I love doing, so that's what I continue doing. And then, of course, you can listen to Nate on the go also with his podcast with
Nate Flicks Movie Reviews, Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play. If you Google it, Netflix Movie Reviews, you'll get a bunch of other places you can listen to it too. So check me out there. I'll be having a new episode next week. And we're going to be we're just going to be reviewing movies. So we review a bunch of movies, me and my buddies, and it's a good time.
So there you have it, guys. Other than that, guys, this was an awesome episode. I mean, the movie was a doozer, but it was kind of fun breaking down the movie. Yeah, it was a pretty fun breaking it down, laughing across this stinker of a sequel. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching on YouTube, or if you're listening to us on the go. I'm your host, Alex Figueroa, and that is
Nate Flicks Reviews.
Be awesome to each other and geek out.
Peace.